Hello, hope it's doing well. Today we have Extreme Challenge Mode for the month of October. This is Enterprise, the incarnation of Libra. And for the gimmick on this one, it's not too difficult to work around. Some of the past been a little more confusing. This one, pretty simple. Got two skills. First skill, Weights of Equilibrium. 18 seconds after the battle starts, this ship summons 8 red and blue weights. These would be like the generic mob ships. They'll have little glowing lines on them that pulse periodically, and so you can't always tell what color they are, but when they pulse, it'll be either red or blue. And then she will also evade all attacks for 8 seconds. So from the 18-second end mark to the 26-second end mark, you can't do any damage. And then after this effect's first activation, it activates again every 40 seconds. They would say affect and activate a lot there. But yeah. So with these, we're just not going to worry about trying to kill equal amounts of them. We're just going to ignore them for the most part because it's kind of hard to get the damage right on some of them. I've been having difficulties with that. But second skill, maintain the balance. 15 seconds after weights of equilibrium, all red and blue weights are removed. And then for 25 seconds, decreases the ship's damage taken in 30% increments based on the number disparity between red and blue weights, and this effect can apply up to 3 times. So she can get up to a 90% damage reduction if you have one type die more than the other. So what I did was I just didn't bother trying to kill these weights, these generic ships. Now I ran into a slight problem where I did have to kill some. This is, you'll see in my run, this is where I summoned my submarines and then they ended up killing a couple of one color, and I had to rush to the other side and quickly kill an equal number so that she didn't get that damage reduction, that 20 seconds or so. But yeah, so just kind of ignore it for the most part and you'll be okay. Just, don't try and kill them specifically unless you have to. Submarine thing. With deploying your submarines, pay attention to the timer just before Enterprise will dispel the weights for the first time. A few seconds before that, deploy your submarines. That way they have a chance to actually get up and start shooting, and then the weights will be gone and they can start shooting. And that way they'll be closer to running out of oxygen and leaving by the time she summons them again, and you'll be okay. So, yeah, that's just how I did it and the skills. Not too crazy. We'll go over my team next. So if you've seen some of my videos, you're very familiar with this team. I use it basically for all the boss battles if I can. We have Haku, Shinano for big damage, Implacable is here to slow, and this front line, Augur is here for a bit of damage, bit of tanking. You don't have to worry about survivability too much, so Augur isn't totally necessary. She's just mostly here to apply armor break. Kazugumo just killed that bird. Hope everyone saw that. Kazugumo just slammed that gun housing on top of that bird's head and just squished it flat. That's terrible. You should be ashamed of yourself. Oh, it's alive. Okay, good. Kazugumo is here for air raid assistance. She provides a 15% damage buff to carriers and light carriers. That's nice. It doesn't stack. If you don't have Kazugumo, you can use someone like Augur Retrofit. Augur has to be retrofit to do this. Stephen M. Potter also applies this buff, as well as Bailey, the Benson class destroyer. Just be aware that Bailey is a rarity, and so her stats kind of suck. But if she's just providing the buff, it doesn't really matter. So yeah, there's options for Augur as a placement. Augur is always in the PR. Sirius is always a good option. I almost said always available. It's not always available. You can get her from the metal exchange shop when light cruisers are on rotation. However, this month, let me know if this is the same for you guys. The metal shop rotation for what's available to purchase for me is battleships and battleships. It's always been two separate ones, so I don't know if there's a mistake and they're going to patch that, but I grabbed some ones that I had scrapped so I can get them, so now I can get their EXP up. The tech points in collection again. Yeah, Sirius here. Marcus Sirius buffs aviation of carriers and light carriers. She also buffs their hit rate against DVCLs and heavy cruisers, but we're not facing one of those, so it doesn't apply here. And she gets buffs for having carriers in the fleet. That's nice, and she buffs from firepower. But she's mostly here to provide that buff for the carriers. So honestly, the gear, I would have gear on like A gear and Kazagumo. Like Sirius could probably get away with not having gear. Maybe have the augment gear on them because the slash attacks are kind of nice, but it's this boss just does not do a lot of damage to you. I think only on a couple runs, Augur got down to where she said her low damage line, and that was like at the very end of the fight. And the boss was one set of airstrikes away from dying anyway, so it didn't matter. So we'll go Implacable here. She is the slower for this fleet. So she has the Flying Flapjack here for timing purposes. Now, I don't have to use the Flying Flapjack because I'm playing on manual mode. It just, I like having it be a little closer if I happen to switch to auto for whatever reason. I'm not going to in this fight, but that's something you can do. But she'll be quite a bit faster than the other two because the other two are running 10 rise. But I have a Flying Flapjack at plus 13 because I like this plane and it looks ridiculous. But any of the other, like the Tiger Cat, you could run the Sea Hornet. I tried running these prototypes from the PR4 research because they have the best armor modifier for the rocket planes, but they didn't seem to be doing too well. AKA, it just took too long. And then double torpedo bomber, good damage. You can swap her out for someone like Arc Royal pretty easily. Arc Royal will just be a little bit less damage, but you can get Arc Royal to her retrofit, and she does even more damage. But even before, she's still really, really potent. But Black Bull, really, really good slowing ability. Augur also slow, but we're mostly just going to be using Implacables here. And she also lowers their evasion, so even better. I didn't know about that. Honestly, when I first got Implacable, I did not use her for the longest time because it's just too much text, and I didn't even know she was a slower, so I spent a good, 2 months not using her. She gets buffed. She's even more reload when she has a dive bomber, which we don't want her to have because we want her to be closer to Haku and Shinano. If running faster carriers, maybe that's something you want to run. Wrong way. We have what's her nickname? Larse. I said it anyway. Hakuryu. Big damage. She's always available in Priority Research 4. Not as easy to get some like FTG because Haku you can't buy her prints yet, and it's still a lot of grinding to do. But get you Hosho. Grab Shokaku, Zuikaku, or any other Sakura Empire carriers, and you can grind our EXP really fast. Just the print part sucks. He's running double 10 rise because armor break is very nice to have. It doesn't stack, but it just means we have more chance to apply it. Shinano, big damage. Hopefully you got her during her rerun a couple months ago. She buffs the other carriers, correct? Yes. For Sakura Empire CV. So accuracy and aviation. I'm hoping that at some point we get like an Implacable replacement that's Sakura Empire that is a hybrid of Implacable and Centaur. So just kind of swap out Implacable's like damage reduction, like get rid of this skill and give her the same skill that like a better version of Centaur skill that buffs damage dealt by the main fleet or aviation and firepower like Centaur does. That'd be really cool. So that is the main fleet. I guess we can show the cats. I have Steel on here. Steel does not give good stuff for this fleet, but Steel has Flames Aggression, and that's quite good. Actually, I should probably swap Steel with this one. This other Steel here a little bit. Sure. but it's applying anyway while the submarines are active anyway. Doesn't matter. But Bishimaru is quite good. Why do you have all these cruiser skills? What's going on, Bishimaru? Are you not even the right one? I should have another Bishimaru that's not the right one. It's also at level 30. Whoops. Oh, I guess the other one can go over here. I have to do the run again to buff my time, I guess, for the extra 3% damage for a little bit. So yeah, cats. Nice little buffs. You want to have Flame's Aggression if you can. The other one's like Forest Protection or something like that. It makes you take 3% less damage, which is nice, but for this boss fight, you're not taking a whole lot of damage anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much. If I get like Ace, my Bishamar will be fantastic, but I don't have it. So for other options for your carrier damage, I mentioned some for like basically Kazugumo and Implacable, but I forgot to mention Shinano and Haku. Haku you can't always get, but that's kind of a long-term investment. A bit of a shorter term, but still takes some time and resources to do, is running Shokaku and Zuikaku. Let's go over here. CVs, Sakura Empire, they're super rare. So Shokaku and buff your damage. So increases her aviation stat, which is Zuikaku, which in this hopefully you're doing. And increases your entire fleet's damage by 10%, and increases damage takes by 10%, so that's nice. Oh, I didn't swap Haku out yet. Okay. I don't have Haku as invested in as Shokaku. Her first skill isn't as leveled up. She's not level 125. Shokaku's only level 120. Affinity's not all the way up. But Crane Why did the music change? That was weird. From the boss music to the port music. That was really strange. And if there are 3 or more Sakura Empire ships in the ship's fleet, increase damage to the ship's airstrikes by 20%. And then when she launches an airstrike, buffs her airstrikes by an additional 20%, and this stacks up to 30 times. So 30 times, 3 times. I'm gonna get rusty here. So you can get a good like 80% extra damage. That's quite good. So yeah, those two options are really nice. Suikaku is available in the War Archives in Visitors Died in Red. You can also get in the Metal Shop. That's nice. Not this month, as I talked about earlier with Sirius. Reacquisition. So you can also spend your medals in a gacha pool. You know, the odds aren't, they're lower than normal gacha, so take that as you will. And then Shokaku is available in the Metal Shop. It's also available in the Reacquisition. So those are 2 options. I tried using these 2 along with Arc Royal. Let's go grab her real quick. Wherever she went. There we go. And the damage wasn't quite there yet. So I think once I get them to level 125, they'll be much more viable. But I was running more budget gear, not the top of the line gear. I guess she had these 2 on her, and I had Ryusei's. I could run something like the Tenrai, more damage, but I wanted to, when I was testing these out, I wanted to have more realistic budget options. Like Arc Royal would be Dive Bomber and then 2 Torpedo Bombers. That's what you can run. So, yeah, I wanted to have this as more of a budget option, but it's just not quite there yet. So, if you have this bunch leveled up, let me know how it goes if you use them in this one. So, Submarine Fleet time. I'm running the Ilion Submarine Fleet because 2 of them do extra damage to carriers. One does extra damage to heavy armor, but Enterprise has medium armor, so it's not going to work out. Go with Kavala. Make him take less damage and heals him. Not really applicable here. I don't have oxygen gear on them, so I don't have the snorkels because they stay underwater a little too long and they do a little too much more damage to the weights. That's a bit of a problem with how I want to run things. And then you see double the Gato. Wonder if no, because it would have to be a type of fish. Because Gato is like a cat. It is a cat. Spanish. I don't know. But extra damage to CVs. We're fighting a CV. Nice torpedo barrage. And then her barrage gets buffed, sort of Albacore, which we're using. Kabbalah is always available in the War Archive, so you can grab her there. Sliding the wrong way. Albacore, always available on rotation in the Merit Shop. So she's got, torpedo barrages. His augment gear makes her better. There's Hunter, extra damage to carriers, that's nice. And yeah, Merit Shop, grab her there. The one that's not permanently available is from the New Jersey event, but she just reran recently, so hopefully you got her. Extra damage to heavy armor, not applicable here. And then when sorting with at least one other Union submarine, increases the crit damage and torpedo and accuracy for all your Eagle Union submarines. Well, all three are getting, 15% extra crit damage and 8% extra torpedo and accuracy. So that's really, really nice. And then she has a bunch of torpedo barrages. She has extra oxygen stat. It's a bit of an issue. So in my run, you'll see that we have a bit of a problem with them killing some of the weights. Maybe not in this run, but in some of the runs. So yeah, I guess we will just go to the run with me talking over it. Alright, so the battle is starting. So here comes Enterprise. Run around, we're gonna drop our torpedoes at first. We're gonna save our submarines. We're just gonna hang around a bit. If you kill that plane, it stops the bombing run, so if you kill it sooner than later, then it does less damage. So we're just gonna hang back. We're gonna stay kind of in the middle, so we're doing about equal damage to these two. And, so I also kind of move around, so Kazugumo's torpedoes hit Enterprise. Yeah, we're just gonna hang out, try not to kill too much. And I launch those submarines, and here comes the carriers. Doing a bunch of damage, 8 health bars in a few seconds. That's nice. And here we go. Got a second run in. The submarine's still hanging out. They're not doing too much damage for this boss fight. But here's where there can be an issue, because they all spawn a bunch of barrages when they surface and leave. So we need to kill this one down here at the bottom. Balance things out. There we go. And Equilibrio, so we're good to go. The run is safe. There's probably going to be a faster run out on YouTube, but I just want you guys to be able to clear it. Just hanging on to it. I'm a little unsure when the weights were going to spawn there. I kind of get too focused on like the battle part and not focused on the timer, so I lose track of when timing happens. So we'll be dumping all 6 airstrikes on this at once. And there we go. Line up just right, so we didn't waste too much time with reloading. Well, with Haku's Implacable and Shinano, we're waiting a bit. It's unfortunate, but now they're a bit closer together, so the gap is shortening between the two. Between the three. Just doing a bit of damage while we're waiting for the weights to spawn again. Here they are. Plane is just loaded at the same time. And as you can see, we are not taking a lot of damage in this, so it's not a concern at all. I tried swapping Helena and Augur out, or swapping Kushina out for Augur, just to see if we can do more damage that way. Didn't seem working out too well, which is unfortunate. Yep, just doing plenty of damage. Here are the weights again, so we're just gonna hang back. And just don't bother trying to kill the weights. Jotun Shaw's getting a little worried about that one at the third from the top, but that's okay. And Implacable slow is quite nice. I think Formidable's is similar. Where it has a decrease in speed, holds, and gradual increase. The ones that just set the speed to 0 and then it just instantly comes back caused a lot of torpedoes to go wide. Like you saw a couple go wide on that last set of airstrikes, but it's more of an issue when I was using something like Arc Royal. We see Enterprise to the armor breaks, just taking plenty of damage. We see the sausage torpedoes going wide and all over the place. Augur's flinging her meat around. I probably could have risked it. Yeah, I could have risked it there, but decided not to. That's fine. No need to ruin the run. If you're using much stronger Vanguard, you can have your ships just hanging on the far left side of the screen, so that way the destroyers and cruisers aren't shooting. Someone like Augur will shoot because their guns are a little bit longer range. You can see if we're kind of in that sweet spot there. Our guns are doing a little bit of damage to Enterprise. Torpedo barrages are occasionally hitting. Just a little extra damage at us over. See, Augur's getting a little bit damage there. She got her low HP line, but you can see she's well above half, so not sure exactly why it went off. I thought it went off at like 40%, but I guess not. So we're just gonna spam damage now. Try and get the time down as much as possible. There we go. And we just missed out on killing that last airstrike, so we're just gonna try and spam our torpedoes. Yeah, you see me just pushing the buttons. So yeah, not completely optimal, but good enough. Passable. Shinano did the most damage this time around. You know, pretty close on damage-wise. You know, over 1 million for Shinano and Haku. And Blackwell not far behind. Augur did a good amount, so did Kazugumo, but you can see Sirius 168,000, 169,000 basically. You could, I mean, you add a few more seconds on, but you could do that. And then for our submarines, it should show next. There we go. Surprisingly, Archerfish did the most, despite not having the carrier damage buff, which is interesting. And then followed by Albacore. It just goes in descending order. That's interesting. But yeah, that was the run. Hope you found this useful. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.